I'm videoing this because the most insane thing just happened. At 1 o'clock, it's 4:30 now, I went out to go surf. And I hadn't even gotten to the wave yet. I just duck dove. And I had my surf leg on, strapped on, everything. And it immediately fell off my leg. And I went into panic mode. And I asked this boy next to me, I'm like, I just lost my leg. And he's like laughing. He's like, what? And I'm like, my prosthetic. And I just spent the last 3 hours, dude. Like, as if I was like a blind person. I use my hands as braille. And I just searched the ocean floor, like under the water, for like 3 hours straight, thinking like, how am I gonna get home? Like, it's so hard, dude. But it's like, I found my leg. I didn't give up. Long story short, so many things went through my head. Like, a part of me was gone. I could not physically get or move anywhere. And at 4 o'clock, the man I met yesterday and had this like really special time with, the rainbow and that, I was like, Darren, help me. And I like showed him my nub. And he's like, I'm gonna go get a mask, I'll be right back. And while he came, it was pouring rain. No one on the beach, except for like 2 couples, and they were just staring at me like, what is she doing? And I didn't give a fuck. But it was so hard to like just have waves pounding on you, and you're just in such distress. $30,000 leg that's gonna be my snowboarding leg, and the snap broke. It wasn't my fault, but I was like, fuck this. How am I gonna go to fucking snowboard now? How am I even gonna get home? I'm gonna have to crawl home. And thunder is booming, and it's just pouring rain, and I'm just all by myself in the ocean, just all the way out. I went 2 miles north, I went 2 miles east, back and forth, under the water, the whole time, just feeling the ocean floor. Like, if I was blind, I literally was blind in a way, and I could only kick with 1 foot, and these waves were just pushing me back. And I was like, hey, if I'm 115 pounds, 120, that thing is gonna be near where I am, so just go with the water, like, go with the water. And then finally it stopped raining, and Darren comes out. This is like maybe a half an hour ago, and all of a sudden, like, he was there, like God put an angel in my life, and he's like, I'll help you, Sarah, we're gonna find this. And this one guy rolls up, and I had to just take a break when Darren came. I got out of the water and I just sat there, and all of a sudden this guy comes up and he's like, oh, it's probably gonna wash up near like the end of the beach in like a week or something. And I'm like, Darren and I just both talked about it after, like, we ignored that guy. And all of a sudden the thunder stops, the rain stops, and the sun comes out, and the waves stopped. And I go, I'm gonna go out now because I know exactly where it is. It's past the break. It's past the break, and it's just lying on the seafloor. And Darren's like, it is, I guarantee. He's like, I think that's where it is too. And like, I put on these goggles and I swam out to like 15 feet deep water, and I was past the sand from the water pounding. I got into the clear water, and in about 5 minutes I found my leg. But before I found it, I had to come up for air, right, a couple times. And when I came up for air, I noticed this rainbow, and I looked on the other side because I was like trying to mark where I was when I lost it, and I noticed it was a full rainbow in the sky. And I said, thank you, God. Thank you. I'm going to find this. And that minute, I went back down. And it scared me at first because it was a big black thing. And I was like under the water because there are sharks. Darren said he saw a tiger shark out there that like just circled him. And I had that in my head because I was out deep in the water because the waves took it and pushed it out. And I found my leg, dude. And in the water, when I got it, I pulled it out of the water and I was like, woo! Fuck yeah! And Darren just starts bawling. And the guy just rides off on his bike like, oh, whatever. And I swim in and I put it on and I stand up, and he's like, you're whole again. He's like, I can see when you were looking so fast. He's like, you were determined, but you were like so mad. And I found my leg. I didn't give up. It was pissing down rain. I couldn't see anything. I didn't have goggles for 3.5 hours into this. And not once did I sit up on the beach and take a break. I was underneath the water for the last 3.5 hours, using my hands and closing my eyes because it was all sand and shore break and just getting smashed. And then going back into the shallow end to see if it was in like the pools of the shallow end, and then back out, and then back 2 miles, back 2 miles. I swam 4 miles easily. And then I took a break when Darian came, and we analyzed the situation, and we both thought the leg is out past. It's in the deep end where the dark is. And I go, the sun just came out. I'm gonna go out now. And he's like, I think you should. And I went out, and within 5 minutes I found it. I want to cry so bad right now, but I'm like too tired to. He said when I was out deep out there, there was just this mad bang of thunder. And he's like, that was God saying, I'm here. And I'm going to document it with him at 10:30 tomorrow, exactly what went on in his words. But I feel like I just lost a part of me, and I had to go through every single thought of how I'm going to get home, what people are going to do, or if they're going to help me. If I'm just going to crawl and leave my board. I don't even care about my board. My board was washed up on the beach the whole time. I didn't even see if it was still there. I didn't care. I just wanted my leg back. And I can't explain, even though it's a prosthetic, you don't know what you got till it's gone, because I felt so vulnerable, so confused, upset, yet still determined. And I just knew I'm gonna find it. I'll be here till midnight if I have to. I'm gonna find it. And I knew the ocean. I knew how the current works. I knew what the tide was. I knew when it was dropping. I knew when it was coming up. And I went out exactly at the time. And it was just going like this on the ocean floor. And I just grabbed it and came up. And I was so tired. I'm exhausted. That was the most... I mean, I can compare that in a different way to the night I got hit. The feeling of losing a prosthetic leg and losing a leg. It took that much determination and perseverance to find a titanium leg in the middle of an ocean. I don't know like how to categorize my feelings and how to categorize this, but I know this needs to be documented. I got my board back, of course. Luckily in Kailua, people don't steal much. I got my leg that I'm going to be snowboarding on. I'm having Darian sign my foot. Because without him, I wouldn't have had the goggles to go see it. And I might not have had enough energy. He gave me a banana. And he's like, here, take these goggles. He's like, I'm going to stay in the shore break and see if it's in the pool. And we both agreed for me to go out in the deep. And a rainbow from start to finish. And when I came up for air, I saw it, and I said, thank you, God, for letting me find my leg, which I hadn't yet. I just manifested that feeling, you know? I persevered. And it took almost 4 hours for me underwater. And I did not stop. And I will not stop. That just changed my life. I just had a complete life-changing moment. It felt like I lost my real leg, and I was searching for it. It was like a nightmare. But I found it. Because I didn't give up. And I had a good friend who was a stranger yesterday, but a good friend, and we both know the ocean well, and we both disregarded negative comments. And he said, he's like, that guy wasn't gonna go jump in and help. He's like, but I did. He's like, and that's when you know, like, who's who. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm learning that, trust me. Totally shaking, like I'm freezing. Got the Olympic thing on my hand. I was tripping over that. I was everything. Like when you die, like when I was in that ditch, like everything fucking, it really does. It all goes. And I was like, million thoughts. 3.5 hours of thoughts and water being shoved up into my sinuses. And I never gave up. And I'm telling you guys this because I've never lost a leg to a point where I was like, how am I gonna even get home? I'm gonna have to crawl on the beach and crawl on the street and into my house in front of Halloween traffic. And I don't know what it was, but my hard work paid off, and a good friend's determination and help with his goggles, and both our ocean knowledge said, it's out there. Go out to the deep part where it's not shallow anymore because it drops off. And we were both right. It was sitting right there. God bless everybody. Thank you, God. I've said that like a million times since I got on here. I'm gonna go take a hot shower, and I'm like in shock right now. I know a lot of you can't understand like what I'm feeling, but people that are amputees, they can understand. When you lose your prosthetic and you're on a public beach, you lose a part of your body part, and everything goes to hell. And it did for about 3.5 hours. And then in an instant, I said, I'm going out. And a full rainbow appeared. And he said when I was under, like, this huge blast of thunder happened, which I didn't hear. And, I mean, it's been thundering and pissing rain. And then, when I saw that rainbow, I knew this is my chance. And I took it. And that's what you guys, if you're in a situation, just keep moving. Don't give up. The negative thoughts are going to come, use them to your advantage. But I never felt so vulnerable in my life. Never. This has been like a really tough experience. Even though I found my leg, like, it's kind of like bringing back PTSD stuff. Anyways, I just want to be honest and let you guys know how I feel. Look at the bags in my eyes. I'm exhausted. Okay. Love you guys.